Greetings, sisters. I'm disappointed not to be with you. The Women's Conference of the International Transport Federation is very important, and I don't doubt that you've had a really productive conference, and I look forward to the outcomes. We have much work to do. There's no doubt that the global economy is no more stable than it was 7 years ago. We know that economic growth has been revised downwards by the IMF now 7 times. We know that unemployment is in fact at crisis levels still, and for our young people, for our children and grandchildren, youth unemployment is now a structural crisis in almost every country in the world. But when you consider that women have been hit hardest by the economic crisis we're still living through, and that pain has been compounded by the move to austerity, then we need to organise women against that set of policies. The realities are that women's employment in terms of participation levels have stagnated. We have 50% of women of working age population, and yet we know that despite the equality with men in those figures, our participation in the workforce has stagnated and is starting to decline. In fact, less than 30% of women are in work. So we need to know that the world will be different for women, and we're not going to sit back and wait for others to make those decisions. We're going to organise, organise, organise. 65% of women tell us in our global poll that in fact their economic situation in their country is bad. It's bad for them or their families or their children. They're very worried about it. We know that 88% of women tell us their incomes have stagnated or declined over the last 2 years. And we certainly know that more than 2/3 of women believe that they don't have adequate legal protection for either secure jobs or fair wages. Women envisage a different world. Women support, in the overwhelming majority, more than 2/3, decent retirement incomes. They support, more than 80% investment in health, education, childcare. Sadly, of course, it's interesting to note that men actually support childcare at a level that's 10% less than women. So we've got work to do. We know that women believe unions are important because, again, some 68% of women tell us that workplaces where unions are strong have better wages, better conditions, better health and safety. So we know the message. It's organise, organise, organise. But for the ITUC, we're putting that set of challenges for ourselves in a frame that is a little different. We're running a Count Us In campaign. We're challenging our affiliates to sign up. We hope that the Global Unions Federation will support us. And we're saying count us in. Count us in to our unions, to our union leadership. Count us in because our target is to organise 5% more women. But count us in to our communities and our economies, because women's participation will lift GDP and therefore jobs growth faster than any other measure. You only have to look to not our friends but some of our traditional enemies like the IMF, and they will tell you that if women were in the workforce in equal numbers to men, in France you would see an increase of 4% in GDP. In Japan you would see an increase of 8%. And in Egypt it would be a massive 34%. This is the future. Count us into the workforce. Count us in jobs where women are and can do more. We know that if women are to participate in the workforce, it means that the care economy must be a basis for investment. There are jobs for women there too. Women who support our capacity to work in other industries. Women who work in health, in education, in childcare, in community services. So count us in to the workforce generally. Count us in to jobs in the care sector that makes that possible. And count us in to our unions, to our union leadership Indeed, we know that women are the future, that the power of workers that we want to build will depend equally on women as it will on our male brothers. I want to say to the International Transport Federation's women, I salute you, and I want to see you in large numbers at the ITUC Congress in May, because the theme, building the power of workers, will only be a reality. We will only tackle the organising challenge if, in fact, women are out there absolutely being recognised for their participation, for their efforts, but taking charge of an organising agenda for women, by women. Congratulations, solidarity, and I look forward to seeing many of you in May, and then, of course, at the ITF conference later in the year in Bulgaria. Congratulations again, and thank you for the strong union sisters you are, every one of you.